This is a gingerbread cake topped with a no-bake cheesecake and a gingerbread caramel sauce. Nothing says Christmas or the holidays like this gingerbread cake. Combining these classic flavors, cheesecake and gingerbread and caramel, this is the ultimate holiday cake. Perfect for gingerbread and cheesecake lovers. So let's get into it. The first thing you're going to want to do is prepare your cake pan. Grabbing an 8x8 cake pan and lining it with parchment paper. And once that's lined, you're just going to lightly grease this, and then you're going to set this aside. Once that's done, you're going to grab a large bowl of a standing mixer, and you're going to add in your room temperature butter along with your oil and your white and brown sugar. Now, like we do with cookies, we're going to beat these and cream these together so that we get that nice, light, fluffy texture in the cake. And you're going to want to beat these together for a few minutes until it's nice and light and fluffy and combined. And because the standing mixer doesn't always get the bottom of the bowl, you might need to scrape your bowl a few times just to make sure that all of the ingredients are getting well and incorporated. Because you can see here that they're getting stuck at the bottom and they're not getting mixed in. So just scraping your bowl incrementally as needed and keep beating until it comes together. Now while that's beating, you can grab a medium-sized bowl and you can add all of your dry ingredients. So your flour, your cinnamon, your baking powder, your ginger, and your allspice. All of your dry ingredients in this medium-sized bowl, and you're just going to mix these to combine so that they're ready when we need them, and you're just going to set these aside. Now coming back to the oil, butter, and sugars, this to me wasn't quite fluffy enough, so I did go in manually with my rubber spatula. And you can see here that it is getting a little bit lighter in texture and in color. And that's more of what I was looking for. So you can always go in manually and do this. And this only took about 30 seconds. And you can see that it's gotten quite a bit lighter here. And that's what we're looking for. So this is ready to go. And from here, you can add in your egg, leaving out the eggshell, of course, and your egg yolk. You can add in your molasses and your vanilla. And you're just going to mix these to combine. Here I just did this manually because I figured it was easy enough. But if you don't feel like it, you can always put it in your standing mixer as well. And once it's done, it'll look something like this, super beautiful and silky. And you're going to add in your dry ingredients that you mixed together before. But you do want to do this incrementally. So adding about 1/3 of your dry ingredients, and then adding about 1/3 of your milk and repeating the process and kind of mixing it together slowly, making sure that you're not over mixing your flour. And once you have the last of your dry ingredients and your milk in, don't over mix it. When it's just ready and it's all just combined, you can pour this into your cake tin. So grabbing your greased cake tin with the lined piece of parchment paper, and just go ahead and pour in all of your cake mix into this. Now this is a little bit thicker, so you might need to press down on it very gently to make sure that it's going around and spread out evenly. And I guess I forgot to mention, preheat your oven to 350. And once it's done baking and it's nice and golden brown, you're going to let this cool completely. And once it's at room temperature, place it on a cake board or a plate or wherever you are wanting to assemble the cake and set that aside. Now you're going to want to make your no-bake cheesecake. So grabbing a large bowl of a standing mixer, you're going to pour in your room temperature cream cheese. And you're going to beat this until it's nice and light and fluffy. So really just for a few minutes. Now you might need to scrape the bottom of your bowl a few times, again, because the standing mixer doesn't get the bottom of the bowl, just to make sure it's getting evenly distributed and beaten. And just keep doing that for a few minutes. And as a side note, a quick tip about cream cheese and getting it to room temperature If you don't have time to leave it out on the counter, put your cream cheese in a container, grab a larger bowl, put some warm water in that bowl, and then put the cream cheese container in the warm water. Leave it in that for about 10 minutes and it'll soften it right up to room temperature. That's just a quick way of getting it ready, and it's super easy. So once you're done beating your cream cheese, you can add in your maple syrup, your lemon juice, your vanilla, and you're just gonna beat this until it's all nice and well combined and nice and creamy, nice and velvety and all well combined. Again, you may have to stop it a few times just to scrape the bottom of the bowl, making sure that everything is well combined together. And once that's done, you can add in your sifted powdered sugar. Now, I highly recommend sifting the sugar because it can get clumpy. So this just helps avoid any clumps and just makes it a nice consistent texture. And you're just going to combine this together until it's nice and creamy. And once that's done, you're just going to set that aside for a minute. From here, you're going to want to whip your heavy cream. So however you decide to do that, just grabbing a large bowl and whisking it until you get stiff peaks. I did mine in the bowl of a standing mixer with my standing mixer, but you can do this with a hand attachment as well. And from here, you're going to grab your cheesecake mixture and you're just going to add your whipped cream into the cheesecake mixture. Incrementally though, in big spoonfuls, about a quarter of the whipping cream at a time. Folding it in fairly gently, just making sure that you're not whipping all of the air out of the whipping cream, because that's what's going to give it that nice light texture. And just doing this incrementally until you have it all mixed together. Now this part is optional. I put my no-bake cheesecake in a piping bag and piped it onto the cake, but this is totally optional. You can go ahead and just spoon it onto the cake if you don't have time for this or it's too complicated. It's just as easily spooned onto the cake and leveled. I was just trying something different for this and discovered that I'm not really good at piping, but I wanted a nice even layer, so I put it in the piping bag. You're going to want to grab your cake and you're just going to plop on the no-bake cheesecake on top of the gingerbread cake. If you're piping it on however you want, but just spreading it out on an even layer on top of the cake. And once that's done, you're going to pop this in the fridge for 2 hours or overnight ideally. Now on the day that you will be serving this cake, you can make the gingerbread caramel. So you're going to grab a medium-sized pot and you're going to put your butter in there and you're going to melt it on medium-low heat. Once the butter is melted, you can add in your molasses and mix it in. And you can add in your brown sugar after. And you want to make sure that this is mixing and you're well combining this. And you want to make sure that you're mixing this fairly consistently because you don't want it to burn at the bottom. So just checking on it every minute or so and mixing it, making sure it's not sticking to the bottom. And you're going to keep this on medium-low heat until it starts to bubble. And I'm not talking about when it just starts to bubble. It's when it's fully bubbling. The whole mixture is bubbling even after you mix it. It'll look a little bit something like this, and then you're going to add in your heavy cream and your spices. Mix this to combine until the spices are fully incorporated into this mixture, and then you're going to remove this off of the heat. Once it's removed from the heat, you can add in your vanilla, mix that in to combine. And then you're going to let this cool to room temperature. So grabbing a medium-sized bowl and just pouring it in there and just stirring it incrementally. as it cools to room temp. And once your caramel is at room temp and your cake has set, you can drizzle this beautiful caramel sauce on top of your cake. This cake is so perfect for the holidays with that gingerbread cake base layer and then the no-bake cheesecake on top and this drizzle of gingerbread caramel. This cake is perfect for the holidays or any kind of festive occasion, or even just for those gingerbread lovers or those cheesecake lovers. With that super soft, creamy top of the no-bake cheesecake and the super moist gingerbread cake bottom, topped with that gingerbread caramel sauce. It is just perfect. If you like this recipe, make sure to like, follow, and subscribe. Let me know in the comments what kind of recipes you want more of. And as always, thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.